About poor governance. The challenges that we face today, MP Denise Daly, we would not have been facing them had your government do what they were supposed to do. MP Daly, we are committed. We are so committed. And the Jamaican people
come in, family.
have said,
show our labor rights. Come true, family. Come true, family. Let me know who's there. Monica, big up. Come true, family. Jasmine, big up.
The macro.
Leone Lioness, Joy, big up. Come true, family. Hit the like button and come true.
Strong reserves. We have interest rates which are starting to come down again, etc.
I want you to see graphically what 17 years of tax measures looks like.
Come true, family. Come true. Shireen, big up.
These are the tax measures.
Ava, big up. Come true, fam.
Around the parliament. Let's see how long it stretches. These are all the tax measures introduced by them, Madam Speaker. 17 years of tax measures, Madam Speaker. Not one of these papers have we introduced.
Come true, family.
17 years,
up.
Madam Speaker, of tax increases.
Let me know who's there.
Come down after there.
Let me know who's there. Come true. Will or will? Come true.
Jesus Christ, man.
Up.
Blessing me. God would have seen me.
Welcome back to the Steady Show, each and everyone. On a big up on yourself. I hope everybody is doing well. Yeah, man. But what I said to the fathers, them big up on yourself. You see me, I big up the fathers, them, because enough time the fathers, them don't get the big up with them forget, Yesterday was a great Father's Day, so big up to the fathers. You know what I mean? And big up to the mothers that make it possible. So big up to everybody that is there right now. Big up to everybody. Make sure you hit the like button once you are there. So this is one of those shows where we decide, say, I'm going to forward and we're just going to do some political messaging, which is very, very important. We are in election season. And so when things come up that we need to talk about, we're going to talk about them. So I see Simone, moderator, in the building right now. Shireen in the building. Ava B in the building. Arville in the building. Big up yourself, Arville. Happy Father's Day to you. Belated Father's Day, and to everybody. I hope you saw that. Everybody saw that wish in the community tab. You understand me? And as we always say, big up to the mothers that make it possible. So, listen to me now, man. Yes, my brethren. Listen to me now. I want to talk about a couple of things tonight. And I have to come and talk about this because it's very important. So, I saw a piece of news on TVJ, Don Anderson poll, and that poll was talking about term limits. And, they're talking about, in 2016 when Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was campaigning, he made mention of the fact that, he believes in term limits. At that time, I didn't even know what was said, so y'all can let me know. Did he say he believed that 2 terms would have been enough? I don't know what he said, right? But I know that people have been talking about this term limit situation. So one of the things that I did is in the post tab on my page, I put a survey in the post tab on my page. And The question in the post tab is, do you believe in term limits? If so, what maximum term limit do you believe in? Option number one term. Option number two terms maximum. Option number three terms maximum. And option number 4 would be no term limits if there is no better option than the person who is in office right now. In this case, Dr. Andrew Holness. Make sure you go in the post tab and you take that, because I just put it up like an hour or so ago and I already have 72 answers. Yeah. So what we have so far is 8% believe that one term is enough. Right? Another 8% believe that 2 terms maximum is enough. Then we have 26% saying 3 terms maximum is enough. PB, big up yourself. Leonie Lioness, big up yourself. Yeah? Okay, so here's somebody that moderator. Make sure you look, moderators. Make sure you look who we got in the chat. Yeah, I just removed a comment a while ago. That's not the kind of comment that we entertain on the Steady Show. Yeah. So where did I reach? 3 terms. 26% believe in 3 terms maximum, and then the final option is no term limits if there is no better option. Most people chose that option. 57% said no term limits if there is no better option. So in other words, if we can't find anybody better than Dr. Andrew Holness and who is ready to take on his role and, push Jamaica forward, then we are not ready for any change. Prudence Gowdy, a hearty Monday to you as well. Thank you. Sister Yvette, big up yourself. PB, good night. So you just heard the numbers. So make sure you go in the post tab and you take that survey on term limits. So here's another survey I put up this evening. Yeah. And then we will talk about the Don Anderson poll shortly after. The next poll it's in the post tab. Make sure you take it. Is there a significant or is there a big difference between the past and the present leaders of the PNP? One of the reasons why I decided to ask this question is that ever so often people come in my channel, no, Steady, it is not the PNP that we're talking about, it's the risers. And when that happens, there are a couple things that come to mind. Number one, I have to ask, how long is it that you've been watching my channel? And what do you know about all the videos that I've done on the PNP scandals and so on? And all the atrocities and the foolishness that the PNP then got along with all over the years. So if you've been watching my channel for any time, you know that I absolutely don't make any distinction between PNP and somebody say risers and resistance or PNP. So we know that there's a faction of PNP that's called the risers that are bunting them part. And we understand the story about the risers. And then we understand the whole matter that there is the resistance that is out there. And so Leonie Lioness is saying risers and resistance, they are PNP. And yeah, man, I the same PNP blood run through everything, everyone that's been a part of the PNP. One thing I've learned about PNP is that once you've been PNP, it is hard to un-PNP yourself. It is hard to think like a laborite or maybe an objective Jamaican who has just been looking at the politics, not necessarily through political eyes. Yeah? So I don't make any distinction. So I asked that question because I wanted to figure out what people were thinking and what are their thoughts about this whole risers and PNP. So, in other words, the question is there a significant difference between the past and the present leaders of the PNP? So far, we have 56 answers. And let's go with the numbers. So, let's go with a smaller number first. 14% believe that the present leaders are the better leaders of the PNP. So there's still a number of people out there that, regardless of what is being said about the so-called risers, we still have 14% who believe that the people who are leading the PNP right now, that they are the better set of people to run the party. They are the better leaders. And with a second option, we have the past and the present leaders are pretty much the same. So they are not exactly the same, but they are pretty much the same. So always have scandals, always lie to the people, always have no achievements to perform on, always target the leader of the party, always using the civil societies to their advantage. And it seems to me that there is always a scenario in which it's like the people up at the top of the party, they understand what's happening throughout the party, but the people at the bottom of the party, they're just people who love the party. They love PNP people, they love the entertainment, they love the personalities, they love the Michael Manley personality. So if there's one thing we've learned about PNP is that they know how to sell us a good personality. So they love the Michael personality, there was the Portia personality, there was the PJ personality. But a problem started when Peter Phillips came on the scene, because nobody never liked Peter Phillips' personality, at least not outside of the PNP. So once Peter Phillips stepped on the scene, it seems to me that some problems started, because nobody liked Peter Phillips. So when the wider Jamaican started to hear what happened with Peter Phillips, we started to get concerned. Because we said we don't like Peter Phillips like that. I would never believe that Peter Phillips had any chance of defeating Dr. Andrew Holness. Yeah? So, needless to say, people have different narratives as to what happened, but we know that Andrew Holness defeated him. And then, the wage freeze master, somebody call him, right? And then we have Mark Golding. So again, like Dr. Peter Phillips, Mark Golding also, have no personality for the people them run behind. And then we heard about the split in the party, whereby they sabotage Peter Phillips. Peter Phillips's chances of winning the election, I suppose, or at least winning more seats. And that turned out to be a big rift in the PNP. So with that rift in the PNP, with Bunting and the Peter Phillips that run off, Peter Phillips came out on top, they came back, they sabotaged Peter Phillips. And for a long time, we heard that it was Peter Phillips' side, Bunting's side. But when it came down to it, starting with the conference, we saw Peter Phillips at the conference. And they've been selling us this idea that Peter Phillips has not been around, but Peter Phillips has been around. So the other day, Peter Phillips forward again, even though him not make it in a parliament. He was there being a part of the protest that was out there at Hero Circle. So if it is that you come from, if you're a full-bred JLP or somebody who's just come on the scene, just like when I just came on the scene, and you hear the politics that's going on, it's really easy to believe that the foolishness in the PNP started with Peter Bunting, Mark Golding, Dayton Campbell, Ian Hales, and all the people that they seem to not be people that are well liked in the space. But notice, Dr. Andrew Holness does not talk like that. Dr. Andrew Holness, he talks about PNPism. Him come out the other day and him talk about the Pickers Gill committee, which has been running from the 70s, which means to say right throughout every administration. The PNP, they've always used underhanded tactics to win elections. The PNP, them always try to get away with not performing. But when it comes to election time, them accuse the government and them go on with a bag of things trying their best to unseat the sitting government through, accusations of corruption. So I don't see much of a difference between them, but please go ahead and do that survey. Janet Mangle is saying good night steady. You understand me? Please go ahead and hit the like button. 138 people visible. I'm seeing 40 likes right now. PNP, if you're here, welcome as usual. Take the opportunity to learn some lessons. There was another survey I sent out the other day, and I like this one. Now, this is what we need for hear JLP people talk on. So, this survey says, is it time for the JLP to start to push back at PNP corruption claims? In other words, the PNP are talking about corruption every day. Is it time for JLP now to start pushing back at them to say, listen to me, Uno accuse we of the very things that Uno do. We have the proof of what you've done over the years. Uno don't have no proof. Uno just love running them out. I like the responses on this one because this one, I put this one out 5 days ago, and I'm seeing 646 votes. So I think that's more than half of the people that are responding to the Don Anderson poll. So it's very, very important that we take these surveys, right? So is it time to push back at the corruption claims? 3% said no. So you know the rest of it. 90% of Laborites said yes, or 90% of Laborites or Jamaicans or even good PNP or risers and riser sympathizers or wherever they fall, they believe that yes, it is time to push back at their corruption claims. So you understand me? That's very good. That's good. I like that. So now that we've done that, make sure you go in the comments, in the community tab, because listen, if people are giving us answers, we can use the responses to, we can use the responses to come up with shows and to have discussions based on the feedback people are giving us, because at the end of the day, it's very important that we hear from the people on the ground, hear what their perspectives are, and see what we can do as it relates to that. So PB says, we don't want our PM to lose focus. Thanks for making that comment, PB. We're not saying that Dr. Andrew Holness should be out there necessarily, addressing everything. We have the people who go on the stage and talk, like the Rodas and the Warmingtons, and all the people who are usually on the vocal side. They can do that. Dr. Andrew Holness can continue to play his role, but the JLP, as a general rule, should continue to push back. I definitely believe in that. So with that being said, let us go to the Don Anderson polls and let us hear what the people are saying. Big up to Anthony C. Mister in the building. You understand me? He says, good night. Big up all labor rights, third term loading. Patricia says, big up Warmy. Make sure you comment. Let me know you're there. If you want to be acknowledged, make sure you hit the like button if you like the stream. So let's hear what they have to say. Let me see if this is ready. 1 second.
Know the details.
All right.
Jamaicans are still of the view that politicians should be given a...
All right, 1 second. Let me just turn this thing up. Where is the remote for this one? I think this is it. Let's turn it up. Let's hear what the Don Anderson polls have to say now. All right.
Jamaicans are still of the view that politicians should be given a term limit once they hold office. This was contained in the findings of a recent poll conducted by pollster Don Anderson. Mr. Anderson shared the results in an interview on the Morning Agenda on Par 106 on Monday. It's a view long held among Jamaicans that members of parliament, councillors and the Prime Minister should have term limits once they take office. Chairman and CEO at Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson, says a poll conducted between May 16 and June 7, 2025 confirmed the view still stands. 1,033 people were interviewed. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus a few percentage points.
That's overarching the principal finding from this particular question. As you indicated earlier, more than three-quarters of the persons interviewed, which is a very large and very strong support for this view, felt that members of parliament, 76% felt that members of parliament and councillors should serve term limits, and 78% felt that the prime minister should serve a term limit as well. This is consistent with a poll that we did in 2023, which had almost roughly the same numbers.
Mr. Anderson says more findings will be revealed in the coming days. He noted that the poll analyzed responses based on gender, age groups, and voting intentions. This included whether respondents supported the PNP, GLP, or had no political affiliation.
63% thereabout said they would support the Jamaica Labour Party, feel that there should be term limits, as against close to 80% amongst the People's National Party intended supporters. So it cuts across party lines for sure, and it's being supported by persons right across the demographic spectrum in terms of age groups as well, and by gender. So when you have a number as high as 77%, you can expect that when you break it down by age cohorts and by gender, that there be support, the majority.
Mr. Anderson says he wasn't surprised. He says the results are consistent with previous findings and were expected.
This goes against the grain of an announcement made during the party campaign, and of course when politicians get into a campaign mode, they say all kinds of things. This is one of the things that was promised by the current Prime Minister Andrew Holness when he was preparing for the elections in 2016, whenever it was. All right. So it's interesting to note that it's a very strongly held view by the general public, right across party lines and across age groups and gender.
All right, so that is what Don Anderson, the famous PNP pollster, has to say. Everybody knows said Don Anderson's polls, they don't hold a lot of credibility. They're actually worse. They're worse than the Integrity Commission. Every time people hear Don Anderson poll or them hear Integrity Commission, people they get upset and so on. But from the little I heard a while ago, him say what about up to 76% or 77% people folks that they polled, they believe that term limits are important, and most people still lean toward voting for the JLP, which is about 63% of those polled. 80% of those who lean towards what PNP, I believe him say, they also believe in term limits. So how interesting is it that this information came out today, right after the information that came out yesterday about the Governor General calling for the reform of the Integrity Commission as it is right now? Big up to yourself, PB. Yeah, how interesting is it that right on the heels of the show that we did this morning, if you haven't seen it yet, you can go ahead and look at that show. How interesting it is that right after that article that came out in the Gleaner yesterday, which generated a lot of responses, that we have this poll coming out from Don Anderson. So if you're paying attention to what's happening on the ground, you will understand. One, we know that the PNP is famous for commissioning polls, and the polls that they do, a lot of times the polls they don't have any integrity behind it, because the polls are conducted to produce a particular result, and the PNP, they use these results as talking points on the political stage. So, but the question is so for instance, we have a number of people watching tonight. Big up to Mercedes Morgan, Michelle Jones. I'm always praying for the success of the Labour Party. Continue with its great achievements. Beautiful thing. Thank you very much. I saw a comment earlier on. I need to open up the show. Now that we've heard what Don Anderson has to say, we're probably not even going to play Don Anderson again. By the way, let me just pause him right here. Let me just pause this right here. So let me just, no, that's not what I need to do. All right, if I'm forward, backward, just, let me just put this right there, so. Yeah, man, so they use these polls to influence public perception about the JLP. Again, you have no, big up Ricardo. They have no plans for the people. They have no achievements to campaign on. They're not very strong in terms of the plans they have. And by the way, let's talk about it. Recently, me hear the PNP talking about they have plans for Jamaica, but we are shooting down the plans. When Mark Golden went to the budget speech, he said he was doing what a proposal is him saying never going to come into effect for the first term or whatever, or in a 25 to 26. And then he went ahead and tried to dress up that the foolishness there in our he tried to dress up that in a press conference, and then afterwards they held some other meeting and they came out with some numbers. You know, the famous one where Damon Crawford in a tight jacket can talk about they late but they reach. You remember that situation? So somebody said, Don Anderson type 2 error, risers polls. Make Don Anderson make me want to sleep. Very much so. Remember that famous situation where I don't remember the name of this lady, but I believe she was from over Portland. When she passed on, the husband went up there, and I used to play it on my show back in the day. But the man talk about the type 2 error. So them go out and them send people out there to do polls, and they come back with the results that they want, and then they use it to make decisions. But when you think about it, they're fake polls. We heard on the radio the other day that somebody said Don Anderson, so they had some young people forward in a certain communities conducting polls on behalf of Don Anderson. And one of the allegations we've heard is that some of the questions that them ask is, do you believe the time come right now? So these are not even real polls, do you believe the time come right now? Aston in Canada, big up yourself same way. Somebody said Don Anderson tell the PNP what they wanted to hear. So or maybe the PNP told Don Anderson what they wanted to hear. Start girl. So they might tell them one another all kind of things. Erica, big up yourself same way. Right? So there is no legitimacy. But listen, the PNP, they use this kind of stuff to influence perceptions on the ground. And like I said before, the PNP, them always are trying to whitewash their own conduct. I mean, who can believe that PNP out here I talk about corruption when the whole PNP history has been mired in corruption, egregious corruptions. And we don't even have to look back on the 70s and the 90s. Yeah? We can look at what's really happening right now. Today we heard George Davis saying, Mayor Suebi, why you not forward and have some journalists question you, about the innocence that you claim? Elements Grill, big up yourself. Bless up yourself, family. Yeah, man, I'm out here just having a talk with the family, I hear George Davis throwing it out there. And I say, Don Anderson, why you not forward and come talk to we, regarding the allegations that Lawrence Rowe has made. And, let us see if he will answer that call. Annette Allen says, steady, the PNP gave Don Anderson the question that should be asked. They interviewed me. It was all about time come. Thank you very much, Shower Labor Rights. That is it. Family, if you are in the chat right now and you've been interviewed by the PNP about, polls and so on, let me know. Somebody said, is the same Don Anderson who said the JLP was leading in the polls from 2016 to up to 2023. There we go. But when the results forward, it doesn't happen. But one of the things I want those who are not so savvy about how PNP function, big up Start Girl. Start Girl say full poll time come poll. Right? Some JLP people, they are not so savvy. Some JLP people, them kind of assume that, when PNP people talk, that they're talking from a place of ignorance. And so if you look on social media, you usually see PNP just making erratic statements, unfounded statements, them if them not downright insult you, them just jump in and they just talk. For instance, the show that I put up there today, people still come. Do you believe that the FID appointment was legitimate? And what does the Governor General has to say about that? And that's a total different scenario than the scenario in which, because of the foolishness in the Integrity Commission law, which Dr. Peter Phillips did already point out and say, no man, the way the thing is, the way the Integrity Commission is comprised or the way it is constructed, there is conflict of interest. There is no way you can have the Auditor General within the Integrity Commission and they have the power to audit themselves and, within their own department. I mean, that don't make no sense. Of course, it makes sense to PNP because PNP do all kind of underhanded thing. Again, as me always say, I just have a problem with the fact that the oversight committee or whoever was responsible for passing that law, they did not really look at that law because that law was just really a death sentence. And as we've seen, so Mark Golding is still on the political stage talking about Dr. Andrew Holness is undermining the work of the Integrity Commission. And as far as he's concerned, this raises questions of ethics. But what's happening with the Integrity Commission is not a question of ethics. It's a question of competence. One, it is incompetent of Mark Golding. It was his incompetence. And one of the things Mark Golding often talk about is the Integrity Commission was signed into law. In management, I always have some employees, sometimes whether I'm doing their evaluations or there are some documents that they need to sign off on. I remember sometimes some employees, they would give me a very difficult time. They said, listen to me, I'm not signing away anything, right? Because if me signing, me know some in a trouble. So them not sign nothing. And sometimes even as a manager, we have to escalate it to another manager because them say no, them want them questions answered and them want it to escalate. I've dealt with that over the years because people, even the young regular people understand that you can't just sign things. So, everybody know that everybody is not a lawyer. Everybody ain't a lawyer who's there in the parliament, right? And when it comes down to it, things of a legal nature can be very tedious, boring, and whatever. Somebody put in my comment section yesterday that Mark Golding is a process person, and yes, he is. So he may be politically dunce, but he knows certain processes. And as a lawyer, Mark Golding knows what kind of processes to draft so that the processes, they look okay on the surface, but they're problematic down the line. And it's because they want to use it for some other reason. For instance, the Integrity Commission, input it out there, but look at the problem with the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission has a systemic problem, which means to say the problem is built in the Integrity Commission. The problem existed during the draft because somebody just never did that if a hold Mark Golding accountable or to double check him. Of course, Marlene Malahufort was there to do it, and she told them, do not pass it into law because there are issues with it. However, they passed it into law. So that's the problem that they're having right now. One of the reasons this is dangerous, is that when I see Mark Golding came on the scene, I know I tell the people on my show, and I said this, I said, listen, nobody would not really have to go and attack his race or whatever, because one of the things Mark Golding wants is for us to attack his race, for them to come back and say, out of many one people, Siaga was right. Just understand the play. But we can attack what Mark Golding does. But Mark Golding, however, is from a race of people where when they want to get you, they get you by using the law. So they will write the law and they will say it is the same law for all of us. But the problem is when certain people break the law or they are perceived to break the law, them make one person pay the full penalty by the law and then the other person get away scot-free. So that is how PNP operates. That is what the essence of the Pickers Gill Committee was all about. The Pickers Gill Committee is the whole idea of stacking PNP in a JFJ, in a NIA, in a Integrity Commission, in JAMP, in all of the civic groups that Alun Asamba spoke about. Somebody said the PNP residue in the IC. So the PNP blood, the DNA, so they are PNP. Why I keep talking about this, the process is that this is where, and perhaps this is where PNP always say labor rights dons. Because the PNP, they've always managed to use the processes. The next thing I want people to understand is this. Mark Gold they may be politically dons, and they also, them businesses may not be doing well, and we can use that to say that is proof that they can't run an economy, and that is true. Right? Thank you, Erica. Let's get to 100 likes, people. Right? Yes, all of those things are true. But you also have to pay attention to the fact that they do everything by numbers. So no matter where them go and what them do, they are crunching numbers every single where. They know which constituencies to put certain effort in. So for instance, what we have to pay attention to, and people in certain constituencies, you see people in a Western Westmoreland, which was a marginal seat, and so on. You have to watch it because once they have Dayton Campbell in there, is a problem. The next thing, why are they attacking Dr. Andrew Holness? Because in a freedom reasoning, if they can get Dr. Andrew Holness, who the people them love, if they can get him out of the leadership, then who else do we have in the PNP who can stand them kind of pressure that they love to apply? Somebody say Kevin Stevenson and Ronnie Lawrence Bareface. They're just the latest ones though, Annette. The PNP, if they've always done this, the PNP been doing this since the 70s. They are just the latest ones. Somebody pointed out today that the PNP, almost 17 court cases they've won before. That again is a Pickers Gill committee set up because I don't know if anybody know about lodge and all of them things there. I don't know who in a lodge and that, but the PNP, they operate like a lodge. Like allegations they make about Freemasons and so on. And if any Freemasons are here, please don't take me on. These are just things I've heard. You understand me? But it's almost like the people them who high up in the rankings, they know things that people on the ground, they don't know. So Lifestyle said, the judges are in their pockets. They have devised a plan to get governance by hook or crook. Erica is saying that, and that is true. So the whole Pickers Gill Committee, when you hear they talk about the politics of purity, I have to talk about this because this is what Dr. Andrew Holness told us when he was in St. James the other day. He said, go and look it up. Because the Pickers Gill Committee mean to say long before Kevin Stevenson showed up on the scene, there were PNP surrogates in all of these bodies, old judges and so on. So in this Freemason system or in the lodge system, please understand that even in the court system, the Freemason laws, they supersede the laws of the land. So one thing you need to understand is that, for instance, if you're a Freemason or you're in some kind of cult, and say, for instance, the judge is a Freemason or belongs to some kind of cult, the judge has an obligation to the cult group to make sure that they do not make a ruling against their brother or somebody that's in the brotherhood. You understand me? I say to you right now. Somebody say, Leone, both of them better better go lodge up and down pull. You know, so you know, for the people of the play, you know, the 3 councillors that they're gonna charge is just a sham. You understand me? That's another thing. I'm glad you made that point. PNP are very, very tribal, just like people that can't read. So they fight, fight, fight. Absolutely. So when Mr. Ronif put out the thing the other day, may I say, you know, this is how them chose. This is how they what you say them throw you, them throw you. There is a term that says it's like them give you something for free then. There's a term for it. Right? Them throw you something. It's a smoke screen, wife style. That's the exact term for it. Best of yourself, same way, Bentley. So them throw you something for make you say, oh yeah man, it looks like they're going to be fair right now. Somebody said old politics, different political ball game. Yes, that's what we're talking about. So I want JLP newcomers and people who are not too savvy about the politics to understand that what Don Anderson is doing right here, so for instance, it's just another way that they strategize for the win. Neville Chambers, bless up self same way. Joseph Ingram, bless up yourself same way. By the way, somebody put it up a comment section today when I spoke about, you know, what the Governor General has to say. The person said, this video is not going to go viral, so share, share, share. I don't remember who put that there, but I love that comment. Folks, I don't make videos to go viral. I don't make videos to get popular on YouTube. I make videos to simplify, because when I was growing up, I was saying to my wife this evening, you know, I say it's funny to me that I was never really paying attention to politics in my younger years. But when you look back on a lot of events that happened back in the day, big up Lurleen, when you look at a lot of events that happened back in the day, you realize that a lot of things that I dealt with, it happened under the PNP government, and I'm now realizing that a lot of those things were political in nature, such as companies that I've worked with before and they end up in receivership. Right? So there are a lot of moving parts of PNP. A lot of people, even in a PNP, they don't even know a lot of things about PNP. Right? The PNP, they've always been defined by the results that they do. And throughout every administration, the PNP, they have been abject failures to the Jamaican people. Let me hear what the people are saying, because over here, so, for the people in Bright, yeah? Yesterday, they will not go against their lodge members. That's a rule in their group. That's what we want people to know. So when you hear say case go a court, no say nothing. The next thing I want to tell labor rights is this. Even if a ruling comes out and that ruling goes against the JLP and Dr. Andrew Holness, whether they want to say it's a civil offense or whether they want to say it's a legal offense and it's a criminal charge, I want us to understand that we have to be in the mindset that we will go out and support the Jamaica Labour Party and Dr. Andrew Holness, even if the courts convict him of any of these things, because what we must be voting for is to keep the country in the hands of the government that is developing and building up Jamaica. So labor rights, we have to get real firm and real loyal to the cause and to understand. Listen, until me hear Dr. Andrew Holness go on a stage and start talk about risers, until me hear Dr. Andrew Holness go on a stage and say, listen man, are the worst set of PNP them I ever see. The ones before, they were better. Until me hear Andrew Holness with that the rhetoric, I will not be saying that foolishness over here. This is a green channel. I use green on this channel, which means to say over here, so a JLP talking point. So the people who, whether you support PNP, you come from PNP, or, you know, you've been hurt by the system and whatever, I understand how you feel, but I don't sympathize. We know the whole PNP are wicked. And some people unknowingly and unknowingly support PNP. Enough of you are all wicked because you don't know what PNP do. Enough things Portia do that people call me, and tell me about Portia. People who experience things under Portia and manly egregious things. And we don't even come and talk about it on platform, but we don't want to come whitewash Portia. But see, people have agreed up in chat, so we don't me talk, We don't want to come whitewash Portia. Whitewash PJ. Whitewash all these wicked politicians. When Dr. Andrew Holness talk about the wicked PNP, he was not talking about Dayton Campbell, Peter Bunting, Mark Golding, or any of these newcomers. Them are people that even take office yet. All we see is the foolishness in the newspaper about them every day. That is not what we're fighting against. We're fighting against FinSac. When Mark Golding tear down FinSac, we don't fight because Mark Golding mash up PNP. We are fight because we don't want FinSac 2.0. That is what Faval spoke about. My show, Mr. Father Greg, big up yourself in the Father Greg, my brother. You understand me? Father Greg, you know, say, am I affirming this? Listen, this is not about being the most popular out here, Right? I gotta tell it the way it is. The PNP, JLP is not out here talking about all these people who are just using the media. No, we're talking about how the PNP have managed to influence elections right from the 70s up to now by stacking up the groups, and we can't get nothing passed. That's why Julian was in the parliament talking about they support the Auditor General, being in the Integrity Commission. Why? Because once you have an independent body, a real auditing taking place, the whole Integrity Commission have a mash up because the Integrity Commission was built on corruption. They did not become corrupt after they were employed. They had to show that they were the politics of purity. It simply means to say, then purify all these bodies to make sure that they have PNP surrogates sitting down. So as a JLP, yes, when the NIA forward and then talk, and the JAMP and the JFJ and the IC and all of these bodies, when they come out and talk, you don't need to be sitting down and writing no 3-page letter. By the way, these days on Facebook, me just get dark. This even Mr. Julian forward, and Julian talk about how in their first term, they're going to make sure 100% literacy. My only comment to that was, you need to read the newspaper, Julian, because then go sue you. Sometimes I just go there, I have to be like, when it's on social media, sometimes I have to be like PNP, because you can't save them. Not even by come up with nothing logical. Just say something and entertain them and throw them off. Just like how you see the newspaper. Do you have to be wise? Oh, God. Me see whole heap of green heart in my chat, so me know me that talk good earlier on. Thank you very much, family, for the support. Bro, I have never looked at it like that before. May I tell you? So, Dayton Campbell lost his seat on lack of performance. Dayton Campbell is not a big factor. He has a big mouth. Don't inherit people's enemies and make that your politics. Make your politics about your government and which government make feel life better. And when I talk like this, I tell people all the while, I say, listen, at the end of the day, I respect and I rate Dr. Andrew Holness, but I'm not supporting the JLP because I am such a big fan of Andrew Holness. I am a fan of what Dr. Andrew Holness is doing for Jamaica first. And I don't hate Mark Golding, Dayton Campbell, Peter Bunting, or any of those people either. I'm telling you all the while, I say, they have people very close to the politics on that side. It is very likely that in my own family, me and Mark Golding could have end up in the same room. And we would just look at them and say, Mark Golding, me no hate you, you know. But guess what? Me couldn't afford to me cannot support you being a part, running the country after the corruption that go on in a FinSac. I would say that to his face. But me understand, say you and people in my family, no close. You understand me? So all these things are factors. So let's get back to it. Family, we have to be aware of how the PNP, I'm going to say this, I labor rights, so they're not going to like it, but I've been a good judge of, I've always been a good judge of character and the play. The PNP are way better politicians. They are better at politics than the JLP. And if you disagree with me, I want you answer this question. How is it that the JLP have always outperformed the PNP, but the PNP has won most of the elections because they're political warriors? That's what they are. The Dayton Campbells are the ones people react to, but those are not the dangerous ones, you know. What's dangerous about Mark Golding is his ability to lie to people in front of their face. What's dangerous about the PNP are the people who they are covert, the covert people them, the undercover PNP them, the sterilized PNP them, the PNP them who present like they are JLP but they are PNP, the deceptive ones. And them you have to look out for because of them know how to fool people. The ones who are playing in your face and you don't even realize. Make sure that an election day, you know, you don't know what I'm about. But everybody knows, say, if we come down to it, you know, we're going to talk because I know today we deal with controversial topics, you know, and I want you to understand this. Some of the same conversations I'm having about a lot of these things, these are things I talk to people about in private. And I say to people, listen to me. Me not agree with some of these things because when I look at the political landscape of the past, the PNP way more terrible. Mark Golding them do things. The only thing Mark Golding have a bother with right now are the Integrity Commission and the FinSac thing where we can't forget them about. They're not a problem to us. What is a real problem to us is the Pickers Gill Committee that's been running since the 70s. Because the Pickers Gill Committee is why Dr. Andrew Holness had to run to the PNP court system just to get justice. The Pickers Gill Committee is why the Governor General had to step in. Mark Golding complained about Dennis Chung. What can he do about it? They said they don't want Portmore to be the 15th parish. What can they do about it? I don't know if you have nothing to say now that the GG forward and talk. What can they do? They can say anything they want. What can they do? They can't do nothing. So, one of the things I said I was sure, I'm going to read some comments today because you look at the people them really are talking to me tonight, you know. Let me go into the comments and hear what the people them have to say. Somebody said, Julian have no sense. Real talk, bro. Corrupt group of people. Kevin Stevenson is fixing reports for Ranif Lawrence to sign out. But what sweet nanny goat go run them belly. I like the people. Anthony C. Mister says, the IC is designed for the PNP. That's why it filled with PNP people. That's exactly what we're saying. Dayton was never around. Dayton never thought pissing draws yet. When PNP did around a give problem, neither did Julian. Julian did there in England them the time there. Mark Golding there in England when PNP out there give problems. Somebody said they are better at certain type of politics. People attack, but it's not read it though. Steady, I would like. Let me hear this. Steady, I would like you to. Hold on, let me see what I go on. I want to read some comments tonight. Comments them are run. Steady, I would like to know if they're not sending Andrew investigations to FID. I want to know what they plan to do. Steady, do you really want to hear the truth? It is quite sad. You understand me? Father Greg said they are better at politicking. I agree, but JLP is better at governance. Thank you very much. You see what I said to you? And I always tell you, I not politicize my friendship with Father Greg. You understand me? But Father Greg will tell you, like he has said on a number of shows before. Father Greg came from a PNP background and persuasion, but Father Greg examined the landscape, and the man talk honestly, because one of the things that we have in common is that we believe in the politics of development. If you go back on the last shows, you will see that. But Father Greg, I'm a brethren. You understand me? I said to you. So we don't need to come out there, come say that. When you see Craig Oates, big respect to Craig Oates and the people who are there using their influence in the PNP. PNP hurt them in the recent times. You understand me? We don't just want to see Craig Oates and whoever join PNP. We want those who claim to be, patriots and all of those things. We want to see Uno also show it's on a real patriot by supporting the development of Jamaica and stop throw PNP in our face. PNP are all wicked political party. The history is there to show. So for the people who love to come in the comment section and talk about no steady, they are not risers. They're not PNP, they're risers. I understand so sometimes when you're innocent, I don't really understand how deep this issue is. So sometimes I just play it off, I just play it nice, but I want to set the record straight because I want to understand where I stand. And I can tell you, ever since I've been there, that's why I'm telling you, I've worked in management in all my life, and I'd never befriend employees, neither who are above me on my level or below, because there are sometimes you have to take a stand for what is right, and everybody now go agree. But I already have an eagle personality, so I will stand on my own. I'll stand on what is true. You have to tell the people them the truth. Only the truth can set the people free. You see what I said to you? Let me hear what the people them say. Steady, do you really want to hear? Father, all right, we read that already. PNP win on lies and propaganda. Leone FID now look upon them. Where is the international forensic $31 million report? We want to know. All of this stuff is right in front of our faces. These are the things we need to pay attention to. Why is it that Mark Golding no come address the situation with Lawrence Rowe, Dayton Campbell's comments? Why am not address what go on in the KSAMC and all the PNP run municipalities? Why we not hear that? That's what we want to hear about. We want to hear about tangible issues that affect our tax-paying dollars. That's what we need to be focusing on. That is what we should be focusing on. Let's hear what the people are saying. True study. The PNP have always been better at politics. And take it from me, Anthony C. Mister knows this politics. Because the aim is not about building Jamaica. It's all about, I heard somebody say some time ago that the purpose of a political party is to win elections. Again, I go for people's talking points. If people want to make them talking point on themselves, I want challenge steady. Because if I am out here and I'm researching facts all day, and I speak everything based on factual information that is out there in the public domain, there is nothing to think about. How you mean to say the purpose of a policy? If you know, you understand how PNP think, if you believe that the purpose of the political party is to win election, then it simply means to say you are right up there with Bobby Pickers Gill, who say anything that it will take for us to win. Anthony C. Mister, you know the statement better than me. What would cause the PNP to win the election, it's better for the PNP to run Jamaica. Whatever would cause the PNP to win the election, that is good for the PNP and that is good for Jamaica. That is an identical statement. That statement is congruent with what Bobby Pickers Gill say. That is PNP is in talking point. JLP, we have to have for our own talking points. At the end of the day, we have to support the government that is developing Jamaica. And so remember, I'm telling this from last year. I know that the conversations are going to start to change. And one thing that JLP have to understand, you have to learn to deal with a warrior. Let me tell you something about, me deal with some people in a life before, some people who suppose like church people. And I can tell you this, as a youth who did in a church, when a man call himself passing or whatever, where I come from, where I came from, me learned so you must respect the code. Of course, both my grandfathers were pastors, right? Me say if you do it. And then when me get in a church people, and I see what church people do, so the first thing me do, like so JLP, me run go to other church people. You see when things get controversial, none of them wanted to stand up for what was right and what was, the whole of them pretty much say, no, fight it by your own. And let me tell you, one way I had to settle that, is man get so bright, because I was just being laid back and say, make this all play out, trust God, one day, I have to take up my lass, and roast a man at my grill, roast pass at my grill with my lass, and so pass, say, he don't try to ramp with me, because I say the church is not telling me anything to empower me. Me have to roast him with my machete. I saw the foolishness stop. Now we not tell JLP for rush PNP with their machete, But we have to rush them with a political machete more while, because this is warfare. Don't sit down and make PNP sit down and trick on. Two political parties, and while we give Manley credit for certain things that he did, such as setting up the NHT, the whole thing. We know the things that Manley did. We understand the programs that Manley put in place that are of benefit to us today. We understand that, but Manley make the people them go hungry. Manley make people suffer. So PNP was bad in the 70s. What's a sufferation go on under PJ? And no, the records did not say that things just didn't get worse, or things only improved somewhat. And Dr. Andrew Holness talk about that under Peter Phillips and Portia. However, they failed to do what they needed to do for the Jamaican people. Now that we have this current administration, and this administration is now performing in every metric. You see the money that they're spending in every single area. We cannot be out here talking about the only fairness to the two party them that we are talking about today. Because somebody sent me a video today. The only fairness that we can talk about as it relates to two political parties is that, to be fair, the PNP, they may have had good intentions, but the intentions did not result in the kind of productivity. But you cannot, and yes, and I tell people all the while, me say, I can't go and clean up everything that happened in a JLP. I came into my interest in the politics started with Dr. Andrew Holness. So therefore, when him come with a new kind of politics, they used to criticize the crime and the approach to crime. Now things are changed, then what is the problem? Call a spade a spade. Paul Well a big failure, make we talk about Paul Well too. Julian a failure, make we talk about him too. Damien a clown, make we talk about him too. Peter Phillips failure, let's talk about him too. Let's talk about the whole of them over there, because the whole of them are playing for the same team. Let's make videos on everybody else too. Peter Phillips came up the other day, make Peter talk about Peter Phillips too. Talk about Julian too. Yeah, we are talking good away. Let's talk about the whole story. Let's talk about the whole story. Let's talk honestly about the whole story. You cannot whitewash history. Steadily, Manley wasn't a good man. Manley is the one who made all this problem. Manley is a part of the problem right now, because, as me say, the biggest legacy the PNP has left in this country is the politics of personality. Oh, they did well when they gave us Manley. They did well when they gave as much as Portia Never Bright. They did a good job where that is concerned. The politics of personality. But we have shifted away from the politics of personality to the politics of performance. There are two political parties in Jamaica that needs to be spoken about, and the two of them, one named JLP and one named PNP. And on the ballot on election day, to the best of my knowledge, a two-party going today, the PNP and the JLP. So, JLP people, just make sure so you understand. So, Anthony C. Mister says, Robert Pickers Gill, we always believe that it is better for us to form the government. So, anything that would lead for or cause us to be in office, we regard as being best for us. That is everything and anything. Let me tell you something. A competition, folks. Politics is a competition. Politics is a serious game. Those of us who live in America, or those of us who watch the news. By the way, I told my brothers that I would call tonight. We will talk another time. Let me just go through this right now, because this is almost a rant. He said that in an election year, where an election can call anytime now, if you notice how the labor rights are talking, as I said before, them nobody do no runoff the other day. Them say, all right, the law and receive right, you stay over there. So RG Marks, quick decisions. We have to get the labor rights them up and running and in the right mindset. Listen to me. I believe the current president of the United States, I believe how many felonies he was convicted of? Must be 34 or so. When it came down to it, the people decided to vote for him because they believe a lot of people believe he was better. They listened to what he had to say. They voted for him. Up to Saturday, we had what is called the No Kings protest in New York. Those who are in New York can attest to that. Whereby they feel like the president is acting like a king and they don't want a king for their country. They want something to be fair. And they elected him in spite of that. So we have PNP now out here I talk about Mark Golden out here I tell we. Say Andrew Holness should not contest election because he's not in good standing with the Integrity Commission. But we're glad for the Integrity Commission overhaul right now. And you understand me? I know that there are praying people out there, praying people and voting people. Pray and vote. Remember, tell you something, election day, I want the labor rights to go the hardest because the voters, the reason why I start talking to them last year, the only way we can get rid of this Mark Golden problem is not by making videos about Mark Golden date and anybody who wouldn't like it at the politics. The only way we're going to survive as Jamaicans is when the independent voters, is when the non-committed voters decide, say they're going out to vote, is when all labor rights who can vote make sure say them have a plan to go vote. All who already have an excuse why on not go vote, on make sure they go vote, and voting even more people in the JLP. And let us now start using the law in the right way to now stamp out the Pickers Gill Committee. The Pickers Gill Committee has been in every administration, including in the risers. It's been there. It's not going anywhere. Peter Phillips did talk about the fact that the Integrity Commission did need to sort out. That's why they had to kick Peter Phillips out of the party. So we're not saying he's totally bad, you know. We're just saying he have to play ball. He's on the team. He have to play. He may not be the main man on the team, but he had to play ball. So he spoke about the fact that they need to sort that out. He said that in 2019. The same thing the Governor General is saying. That's why the Governor General was saying that this has been discussed across party lines, but PNP, they want to keep it the same way because when you put a real audit upon the Integrity Commission, you know, and you say if you audit what they've been doing, you know, a hell and bangarang and powder house, and enough of them go losing job. You listen to me? It was the Pickers Gill Committee why they decided that Prince, who wouldn't say, yeah man, recommend Dr. Andrew Holness for prosecution. She said it because she has said based on the findings, the recommendations don't match the findings. The man a lawyer, this man's been to college. You know, say when you do your research paper and you do your findings, your discussions have to be there with you, be in line or on the basis of your findings. And also your conclusion. has to be based on your discussions and in your bibliography. You have to be able to show, you understand me, your sources. So why are these brilliant people acting like they're not have no sense? Talk to me now, man. So when we're out here, so and we are tear up the politics, we want to liberate family. One of the reasons why I make short videos, I try to put a little entertainment tonight, and I try to keep it short, is that a lot of the topics that I do, I want people to learn from it. I want to expand on the thinking, not just run with what the newspaper put out there or the popular news. I want to come. That's why you see me, I do a topic like this. You understand me? I want to open on the thinking and make you start think on a broader perspective, because a lot of things that you see in the media and a lot of things that are being touted as, you know, these are what's happening in the politics. There are distractions from the main thing. Dayton can't do with nothing. What can really hurt us is if we start fall for the foolishness about integrity commission. Statutory declarations cannot be certified. 28 bank accounts where we just find out Mark Golding at 32, and Mark Golding forward and lie. Which man who runs the businesses of Mark Golding's magnitude could have 3 bank accounts? When you really think about the lie that Mark Golding are telling in front of we face people. We saw it, but Mark Golding lies to the people. The only justice that we can get out of PNP is when the people go back to vote and put in this government for the 3rd time. Yeah? So I know I talk about a whole lot of things. I went off topic and all that, and I'm very okay with it. I'll talk longer than I wish to. Let me take some comments and then I'll close the show. So, make sure you take the polls in the post tab. Right? When the Don Anderson polls come out and the fake polls and the hullabaloo, just know, say, everything gonna come down to one, as we always say from all time, one diggy thing. Cast your vote for your MP them and give Dr. Andrew Holness the 3rd term. The problem of the PNP, it nah go away so easily. The NIA, they now go away. Yes, they're going to surrender yesterday, but they're going to pop up again. We saw in the Gleaner yesterday, them talk about the need for leadership. When look what's happening under the leadership. Understand that at the top of Norris, them, the politically aligned people, be smart. Be smart about information. Watch how them criticize the JLP and the JLP efforts. Watch who is sympathetic to the PNP, but everything JLP do them jump down their throat. A PNP blood, PNP mindset that be careful of PNP-ism. It's dangerous. It's not just the obvious things. It is the little things that is being planted in our ears and in front of our faces. Be wise, labor rights. And that man telling her right now. So hear me, I say now, prudence go. The Jamaican people need to go out and vote for Jamaica, land we love. You understand what I say to you? Yes, man. And Anthony C. Mr. PJ Patterson, a fight for scarce benefits and spoils carried on by hostile tribes. Yeah, man, that's what their politics was for him. You understand me? He told IC he has 5. Same thing MC Atreem did have the other day. That's how they want to do. Golden's first name is a lie. Golden's middle name is a lie. Exactly. You understand me? So, listen, JLP voters must realize that their vote is for Andrew, not your MP right now. Thank you very much. So if, and by the way, we have, me don't know, me don't want to get frustrated, so I'm going to end the show here soon. Right? But listen to me. Vote to keep Dr. Andrew Holness. Because the next thing, even though we're asking the question, you know, whether you believe in a 1-term, 2-term, 3-term, or there should be no limits, you need to ask yourself, who can really stand up to this current set of PNP people and how they operate? We don't want nobody who can deal with the pressure the way Dr. Andrew Holness deals with the pressure. We don't want any of that kind of stuff happening. We want the Prime Minister who's performing and pushing Jamaica forward The country is too small. We're doing too well. We don't need to be entertaining no conversation at this point about who, how many terms, who do. Listen, we are not the kind of country that can run. No, let us see the succession planning. Let us see who is now being molded for the next level. Dr. Andrew Holness is still a young man. The other day, Ralph Gonzalez come over with his old self, with him 4th term. Andrew Holness is a leader in the Caribbean right now. You keep the government right at Andrew Holness' foot. So we don't want to hear no foolishness from nobody about term limits and give people chance. Give people what kind of chance? Look how many chances PNP have had. Why we never talk about term limits when PJ been a run and wreck Jamaica under these term limits? Be careful of PNP and the foolishness. Family, don't believe the Don and the suppose. Stay aware. Stay conscious. Be careful of the information that you let in your ears. You understand me? So, family, I did not read all the comments, but I could see the engagements. We are just going to continue. Listen, we will put the topic out there. We will speak on the topic, but we're also going to focus on the bigger pictures. That's why I try to keep the shows as short as I can, because sometimes it means to say we're going to have to come forward live when probably would have do things otherwise. But we want to plan things and put information out there so that people can be aware of what's going on. You understand me? So with that being said, fam, thank you so much to everybody that decided to join tonight. If you have not hit the like button yet, make sure you go ahead and you hit the like button. I really appreciate your support on the Steady Show. Moderators, on a big up on yourself. Everybody, on a big up on yourself. But that's going to end with this song right now. I just want to say, stay aware, stay conscious, and put Jamaica first and keep the right government in office. We say Jamaica. Everybody put choose Jamaica in the chat right now. Go ahead and hit the like button. Green up the chat. Green up the chat, family. Big up everybody. Blessed love, family. Steady. Green up the chat. Green it up. Green it up, family. No boy can't buy me out. Me no foreign minded. No way compared to Jamaica. Bless up. Jamaica love. We wanna feel Jamaica. Heart of love, family. Never short of love. Have a great night. Steady. I'm out. Jamaica love.